Okay.
Okay. Let's just take the lead.
Sure, I will. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, to the second edition of Battle of the Best Mad Cats, sponsored by LeaseWeb. With me today is not Gunny this time around. Actually, we have Lothar as a co-caster. So, how are you doing, sir?
Hello, Noxious. I'm very good and looking forward to this tournament. This is the second Battle of the Best. I was playing in
Yep.
the first. It was a really great experience. And we have really many great players here. So we have some exciting games to watch.
Actually, yeah, I was really surprised because the roster of people is. I was actually not expecting this to be the case. Like we have Kolento and D2. I think D2 won the first edition of
Yeah,
the
that's
tournament.
true.
And like we have Twixen, Hosty, Gara, Dog, Carlos, and Nyria, which actually qualified this week. There were the qualifiers that happened a little bit earlier this week, so he managed to take it away. I casted a few games of his. I saw him beat, I think, Game King, I believe, unless I'm mistaken. He went forward with that. Some really, really tense games there. I think he was playing some kind of sketchy mage stuff happening there with Game King.
I didn't
And
see
yeah,
that,
it's kind of
unfortunately.
interesting.
Okay, but
Yep.
well, we have a really great lineup here.
Yep.
So many
Yeah.
great games also. We are playing in a best of five, by the way, with one ban and it's double elimination. So a single loss is not eliminating the player from the tournament at all.
Yeah, that's important to know because some formats in different tournaments will have, different penalties for losing a game. In this case, it's not that bad. You do have the opportunity to come back. So you'll have winners round one, and then there'll be the losers brackets, which will also be played. So there's going to be a lot of games played today, a whole lot of games. It's actually going
Yeah,
to be pretty interesting. So I'm going to keep you updated for the bans as well. I'm going to get the information directly from Thoyd, I believe his name is. So he's going to
Toide.
tell me exactly which Thoide.
Yeah, Toide.
Toide. All right, so Toide will tell me which class was banned by whoever we have here. So that's gonna be nice. So the first match I believe we'll be casting is gonna be if it's in order, it's gonna be Kolento versus Dog, which is a pretty interesting one. Dog, big shout out. I mean, he's a Complexity team member, so quite happy to see him here.
Hmm.
And then
So
it's
you're
gonna
a
be
bit
Hosty
biased.
area. Yeah, I'm totally biased. I mean, I have to vote for my
Ah,
favorite player. So I have to say Dog just for solidarity purposes, right? Like I can't
yeah.
afford not doing that.
Oh, wait. It's Dog versus Kolento. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
first
Dog
game.
versus Kolento. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
That's
it's
the
gonna be a
first
best of
game.
five.
Best of
It,
five between those players. So this will be an interesting match.
yeah, I mean Kolento is a powerhouse. Like pretty much everybody knows that. I think his name doesn't have to be stated anymore. Everybody's pretty much familiar with the power level of that guy. It's over 9,000 for sure. So Dog's gonna have a really tough time. That's a pretty stacked game, honestly. I'm actually curious to see what kind of decks they'll be bringing after Goblins versus Gnomes. We've seen a
Well,
few
you can shed a
tournaments.
light, right? He's your team member, so you can talk about him. So maybe not every single viewer knows anything about dogs, so
Yeah,
what
Dog's
can
pretty
you
much
tell
like,
us?
yeah, he's a good deck builder. I've seen him play a lot. Like he streams a little bit, and he's got a pretty interesting stream. He's very informative in general. Kolento tends to be more about like Kolento's a bit more silent when he plays games. Like Dog on his stream is a bit more verbose, and he'll tell
Hmm.
you why he makes X or Y play. So he tends to be teaching more than anything else. But he's really got like cool deck building skills. Like I remember Firebat a while back. I admired him for his deck building, and I put Dog in pretty much the same category.
Okay, that's really cool.
Yep.
I watched Dog a lot when I was working still full time, and I was like, you know, every time I have a second monitor at my work, I always put some Twitch streamer there. So like Amask, Kolento, of course, Dog
Yeah.
also. So
I
it's
think he
really
got popular a while back with some Ramp Druid deck with a zombie chow, I think. Like people were not really I don't know if he was the one who initially posted it, but I remember like that's one of the first decks that got him, pretty well known.
hmm.
So that was kind of cool. I just remember that.
Okay.
Interviews? Okay.
Okay, cool. So apparently you will be having to.
Ah,
Oh, haha, good to
all
know.
right. That's
We
nice
have
to know that. Like after we start. Awesome. Cheers.
okay. So we'll be having two interviews.
Yeah.
Those will be between, well, Kolento Dog, of course. So they will be played in a few minutes, I think.
Yeah, so we'll have like the interviews before the game start. All right, that should be kind of nice. Yep.
Okay, so have a nice time and
Enjoy the
watch
interviews.
Kolento and Doug with the interviews.
Hmm. Ugh.
Hello, I'm Kolento. I'm playing Hearthstone and I represent Team Cloud9. My favorite Hearthstone card is Ancient Watcher. I didn't check the list of players I'll play against, so it's hard to tell. I have many dishes I like to eat. It's hard to tell. I would be a sloth. I would rather be forgotten.
Hey, I'm Dog. I'm a North American Hearthstone player. I'm on Complexity Gaming, and I'm competing today on Battle of the Best. My favorite Hearthstone card probably has to be Innervate, just because it's like the cheapest card, not just cost-wise, but like it's the most overpowered card, especially for Druid. So it's a tempo giver. That's why I like it. The strongest opponent for me has to be Nyria, just because he has beaten me multiple times before. So I'd have to say Nyria. Yeah. My favorite food would probably have to be either some Buffalo Wild Wings or some Jimmy John's. Jimmy John's is really good, and I'm lazy, so I order it all the time. If I was a type of animal, I, I think I'd be like a god. No, a dog. That's what it is. A dog. I'd be a dog. Well, shit, that got real. Forgotten, I guess. I don't know.
All right, we're back after this Dog and Kolento interview. Now, unfortunately, there was a little bit of a technical issue here where we actually couldn't see it, so we've no idea. Now, we see the lineup of the players right now on my screen. Kolento brought Paladin, Warrior, Shaman, and Warlock, and Dog brought Druid, maybe a Ram Druid since he's so familiar with the matchup, a Warrior as well, Mage, and Rogue. Dog decided to ban the Warrior, and Kolento did the same, because apparently it seems like Control Warrior at high rank seems to be a really strong deck right now.
Okay, so Doug didn't bring any Warlock, right? No, it's Kolento that didn't bring any Warlock.
I didn't see Warlock, no. I did not see that.
Yeah,
Actually,
wow.
yeah, Kolento brought Warlock, sorry. My apologies.
Okay, so Doug didn't bring Warlock, and this is very interesting. It's like by most, this is the best deck possible to use. I mean, most players are thinking that, and it's also the ban magnet, I think. When someone has Warlock, it's like almost always Warlock gets banned because it has so many archetypes that you're actually improving your deck building chances with like a solid plan what do you have to ban. And Doug didn't choose to even bring Warlocks. This is very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, he chose Mage and Rogue, which are two decks. I mean, Mage has been doing a lot of work right now, so I'm not really surprised. It's a deck that before GVG came out was a deck that was kind of falling out of favor due to the fact that Hunters were everywhere, and it was really hard to justify playing secrets. But now the nerf to flare, and mages getting a pretty nice array of tools that can bring back old archetypes that were really popular. It's funny how both are banning warrior. I mean, at the top of the ladder right now, I think that's one of the decks that's been played the most in the top ranks. Like Control Warrior has been there for a long time, and it's gonna just keep going. It keeps going strong. It just hasn't changed at all in that regard.
Well, when we can think about the ban from Dog's side, banning warrior kind of implies that the mage might be a freeze mage.
Yeah,
Well,
I think you're right.
because when you do have a druid against a warrior, and you have a rogue that can also be tweaked to beat a warrior, right? Then what are the fears here? I think this might be actually the case here. So he didn't also plan to ban warlock because freeze mage is great against handler, right?
Yeah. Alright, so it seems like they've started picking their deck, and we're looking at Kolento versus Dog. Dog brought his rogue first, and Kolento brought a paladin deck this time around. So it does look like Miracle Rogue? Edwin Van Cleef. Did he choose to bring a Miracle Rogue? I don't know.
Well, Dr. Boom and Rogue.
That's not something I've expected. Alright, so Dog playing something that looks like a Miracle Rogue, throws back his entire hand. Kolento playing, you know, Acolyte of Pain, Sword Justice, Knife Juggler, so we can expect some muster for battle in this matchup. Paladin coming back in strength since that card's been added to their roster. Alright. So Dog, not on the coin, has Preparation, Eviscerate, double Eviscerate in his starting hand. Not exactly the type of hand you want to start with. But now that he picked up Edwin Van Cleef, it's not that bad.
This can mean that we'll be seeing a really huge Edwin Van Cleef as soon as possible, but the problem against the Paladin, when you play against the Paladin, is there's always an equality lurking in the hand of your opponent, so developing that Edwin can be a really risky play, but it can also be like a very profitable one.
Yeah, against Paladin it's a bit riskier because of follow the rules and equality, as you did mention. Like, it's pretty tough to actually justify going all in on that. You have to play a little bit slower, and it's one of those classes right now that can allow you to do that. Now, we see two Bomb Lobbers in Kolento's hand, which I think is kind of interesting. Two Bomb Lobbers in Paladin, that's not something I've seen very often.
Well, it's a pure tempo card, so it might fit the theme of mid-range Paladin here.
Yeah, he's definitely going mid-range, and because he still has the coin, Dog feels like he needs to remove those 1/1s. And it does look like Dog has chosen to bring a bit more of a Violet Teacher Miracle Rogue. Even after Goblins vs. Gnomes and Gadsden Auctioneer's mana cost change, it turns out he still wants to play that deck. How much do you think the deck has suffered after GVG, actually?
I'm not really sure. The Gadsden Auctioneer for 6 mana is just awful. A lot. I mean, the mana cost changed so much. When you think about Miracle Rogue back in the beta, when Auctioneer was for 5 mana and Conceal was for 0, the change from that point is just obnoxious.
It's incredible, isn't it? Yeah. Alright, so Dog drops down the Violet Teacher. Gonna contest the board a little bit, which is actually pretty nice, because Violet Teacher will be able to possibly trade with a Zombie Chow, and if the Paladin chooses to play Truth or Champion at any point, it must not feel that great.
3 and 4 drinks, so
the Bomb Lobber. Oh, wow, the Bomb Lobber doing some work here. It's really unfortunate for Dog, because the second Bomb Lobber can take care of a Gadsden Auctioneer if he chooses to drop it here. And he does.
Even if you would play a Conceal, that wouldn't matter anymore, because Bomb Lobber has this great upside that it can hit minions that can also that are also stuffed.
Yeah, it's kind of a problem right now. Kolento also has the Loatheb, so he can Bomb Lob the first Gadgetzan and Loatheb the second one. That's going to put a huge stop to Dog's aggression with Miracle Rogue. I mean, he can get some health back by killing the Zombie Chow, but ultimately, how much pressure can he really pack after 2 Gadgetzans are gone? He can't really play it now, can he?
No. Without any preparations or backstabs, you're kinda keeping that Gadgetzan in your hand. And now the problem is, comboing it with anything means you have to wait till turn 8.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I
it's
think
kind of awkward.
Drop Azure Drake and maybe use second Eviscerate to kill the Bomb Lobber, but this sucks really bad. As the Bomb Lobber has a huge value here. So
Yeah.
using another card for that.
Yeah, it's already killed your Gadsden for free and established your board presence, a threat that you have to deal with first of all. So are you happy to play Valid Teacher into Edwin here for the 4/4 and the 3/5 body?
Yeah, I think
It's
that's
kind of
better.
weak, but it does contest the board a little bit, and you keep your card engine for later.
That's true. You can always maybe just play Fan of Magic. This is a very weak play. I think the
Yeah.
Edwin here is much better, but still, Edwin at 4/4 is
Yeah,
so
I guess the Paladin.
fragile to the weapon. But wow, Blessing of the Kings, man.
That is
It
going
is.
to. Oh my God, the unexpected.
No one
I-
expects Spanish Inquisition.
No, nobody expects the first Blessing of Kings, but I wonder if he plays two of them. I mean, I would be surprised, but he might, because with Muster for Battle, it gives you a lot more targets, in the immediate
That's true.
sense. So it's much
Yeah,
more easy now to get Blessing of Kings off than it was before.
Very
And he
true.
kills the Vile Teacher. He's probably gonna use his weapon on this one just to make sure he doesn't lose any value.
So now you have to practically use the Viscerate if you want
Yeah.
to get rid of that 6/3 minion.
Yeah, you're gonna get some health back as well. Ooh, Dr. Boom here. In Miracle Rogue, I think it's kind of interesting, but he decides to cycle with Gadsden Auctioneer. I can't fault him for that. I think it makes a lot of sense. Unfortunately for him, double True Silver Champion. I mean,
Yeah, this,
that's gonna
this
do
will
it.
mean. Sorry, proceed.
no, go ahead. It's fine. I'm just wondering what the follow-up is from Dog's perspective, as far as aggression goes.
You have to play the Dr. Boom as soon as possible.
Yeah, but it can't feel that good.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you have only one spell power. Oh, here's the second one.
Oh, that
But
is
still,
nice.
Still, that's kind of not enough.
Yeah. And he decides to play Dr. Boom. Alright, so that is pretty sensible. It's going to contest the board a bit and put a little bit of pressure on Kolento to deal with this. And right now, he's got... No, you don't play Tyrion here. How
What
do
do you
you
think-
actually... Go
What's
ahead.
the finisher in Rogue's deck? I mean,
That's what I was wondering, actually. I was wondering because Dr. Boom is decent enough to, to whittle down some of the health of the opponent, draw a big removal piece, but we haven't seen anything, out of the ordinary yet. We know Violet Teachers for decent combos. Maybe he runs, Arcane
Ragnaros?
Golems? Ragnaros?
I
don't
think
know that.
Ragnaros might be viable. When you're playing, when you're playing a big creature that is vulnerable to Big Game Hunter, you can actually put something that is even
Yeah.
bigger, and then draw the Big Game Hunter first out.
Yeah, that's the upside of Dr. Boom, actually, is he's the first BGH target, and then you can stack more of them afterwards that are not going to get killed by BGH yet. Unless your opponent, you're unfortunate and he runs, two of them, and he wants to have the beast in his sights. But right now, oh, Kolento, how evil of you. Hey, he's got a lot of damage on the board right now. Oh, this is not looking strong. So much damage, and Lotheb locking down Dog Stern here.
Wow. Oh, this is really
Completely
bad.
locking down Dog Stern.
No, the bombs will be crucial. I mean, the randomness
Yeah,
of the bombs will be crucial here.
If they get lucky, he could play Blood Mage Thanos with a Fan of Knives here to help whittle down a bit of the board and, wipe the rest. Yeah. So it's kind of a tricky moment right now for him. He can wipe the board all right, but what does Kolento do here? If he has Consecration, it's gonna be a bit dreadful. Oh, he top decks the Aldor Peacekeeper. Nicely done here. That is a nice top deck. He runs Sabotage. Oh wow.
No way.
Nice. I like Sabotage. I've always loved that card, but it's not the one you expect most people to play. So right now, Sabotage. If Tyrion is killed, that Ashbringer is gone. Do you wait for Tyrion to use Sabotage, or do you kill the True Silver's second charge?
Well, the Sabotage is not capable of killing Tyrion and...
And the
That's
weapon, yeah,
perfectly
it's
same,
one
yeah.
or the other. You'd have to
Yeah,
kill Tyrion
yeah.
first, and then remove the weapon.
This might
But
be
he's
a
already
point.
used
By
to
the way,
Eviscerates.
when you're playing Sabotage, why do you ban a class that is using weapons? That's
I know. I find it odd because I don't know. He's probably running only the one because two of them might be a bit overkill. But it's a pretty good tech
Yeah,
card
that's
against
for sure.
Control Warrior. As you said, you can tech Miracle Rogue to deal with Control Warrior, and I think Sabotage is one of those specific cards that does that super well. All right, Kolento decides to go for the face here. I believe, unless I'm mistaken. No, he does go for the face and deals 4 damage to Valera. That's a bit. So going on full-on aggression here on Dog. Unfortunately for him, Azure Drake and Blood Mage with Fan of Knives will
Oh,
make
wow.
short work of this board.
Oh, this
And,
is some value here.
Yeah, there's a lot of, now the Rogue could swing back. She's got a sick board. There's no board wipes in Kolento's hand.
The problem with Paladin is that you have almost no possibilities when it comes to burst damage, apart from weapons. So you're very limited to a situation where you actually give up your board position and just go face like the last turn from Kolento here. So
Yeah.
he's in a bad spot, a really bad spot.
Yeah, the Acolyte of Pain, actually he can't afford playing the Acolyte of Pain. It's going to be way too dangerous. Now unfortunately for him, the sap is going to delay the ability of Tyrion to actually control the board by at least one turn. And the SI7 agent and the backstab can deal with the shielded mini-bot very effectively. A little bit problematic here. Indeed, yeah. That is and this is really troublesome for Kolento. He has to replay Tyrion on the following turn, and
Wouldn't you first sacrifice the fireworks? Oh yeah, he's that.
yeah, first he's doing it.
Yeah. Oh, a heal
Oh,
bot.
anti-heal bot. I like that. I love this tech card here. Now Kolento
Okay.
must not be feeling too good about his chances to whittle down the health of Dog and Zombie Chow. That's no help.
That's
That's
an
no
awful
help.
draw. That's an awful,
Not the
really
best.
awful draw.
Alright, so looking at this board, we know that Tyrion Forging can be killed by just using the board, or a combination of backstabs, and then Sabotage would kill the Ashbringer.
Yeah, exactly.
This will be, oh,
Oh,
another
my-
sap.
No.
Oh, the plays. Oh, RNG, why art thou so cruel? Oh, this is unfair.
Yeah.
Alright, Deadly Poison.
Deadly Poison with Deadly Fury is ready, and you can just go phase and just play
Yeah.
Blade when they'll
Yeah,
be-
you Blade Flurry now for 4.
Yeah.
I mean, you can Sabotage Tyrion if it gets replayed, so... and you can backstab the 1-1 on the options that you need to. I mean, he has to replay Tyrion again here, doesn't he? Yep.
For sure. That's the
So he
only
does.
option to actually maybe survive, but you're at 6 points of health. There's 10, 13 points of... Oh, there's a Ragnaros.
There's the Ragnaros, as predicted. I like this Miracle Rogue deck. A lot of late game threats. Not something you see very frequently in Rogue, but that actually brings up the point of, why ban Control Warrior, right? You did bring that up, but it does seem to be even weirder to me right now. Since I do feel like this deck could have a decent matchup against it, or is it not aggressive enough? I don't know. Alright,
Yeah, sure.
that's game.
It depends on also the free drops. Like, if there are some Shaded Extras, the matchup versus War will be really good, but I don't think he can fit all of those cards in one deck with only 30 cards.
Yeah, with Dr. Boon, Ragnaros, Sabotage, that's a lot of tech cards already in here. Well, not tech so much.
He will be, this rogue will be played in the next match, and Kolento now will be using something different. Now, I'm really not sure which deck would you use against this type of rogue.
Well,
I'm
Kolento
not
did
familiar
not
with
see.
Kolento's decks, because we don't know
Yeah.
the deck list.
I mean, I've seen a lot of Demon Warlock come back, like Demon variations on Handlock, or just straight up Handlock, right? It's a very strong deck right now, so that's definitely a thing he could be playing. He's also got the Shaman left. A lot of tempo, Shaman is a very tempo heavy deck, so you've seen a lot of that in the past. Mech Shaman was in the qualifiers. I forgot who was playing that. I believe it might have been Green Sheep that brought Mech Shaman, I believe, and he did pretty well with it. It was actually surprising the amount of damage he managed to put out. And he was abusing the removal of Shaman to actually, compound the advantage of the tempo that mechs give. So that was kind of interesting. Alright. So, also guys, I'd like to point out, there's a raffle going on here by Matt Katz, the organizer of the Battle of the Best.
Issues with my connection. So, guys, yeah, but I heard...
You're lagging a little bit here, Lothar.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit of lag here going on in the technicality. So as I was saying, there's a raffle by Matt Katz. You can go on the Facebook page. You can comment on the Battle of the Best. And, just think, who do you think is going to win this tournament, right? You don't have to, your favorite player. It doesn't even have to be the winner of the tournament. You comment on there, you might get yourself some really top quality hardware, so that'd be kind of nice. The raffle will happen on Saturday after the grand finals have been completed, so that should be kind of nice. So, Mad Cats, Facebook, just watch them and give them a thumbs up. You might win yourself some hardware, so that's kind of cool. So apparently Lothar's dropped on me. I don't see him anymore. The guy's gone. Lothar. So we can see his face still, but there's just no video. He's not animated. There's the what's it called?
Oh shit. Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
You're
guys.
back? All right, welcome back, sir.
Yeah, I hope so. I had some issues with the connection. I think I have to switch my PC after this round.
Sure. Whenever there's a break, you can just switch the PC off and on and
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, sorry guys. Yeah. But I'm back now. It's true.
No problem. So yeah, I was just talking about I was gonna talk about the lineups that Dog's got Merkel Rogue, which I mean, Kolento hasn't even seen Sabotage, nor has he seen Ragnaros, right? He's seen
Yeah,
Doctor
that's
Boom, so he's kind of
Well, he will be thinking, what is the finisher of that deck? That's the same. I think the conclusions we had, but he has to have means to finish the game other than just that, and you won't be playing Beer in that kind of deck. You have also Shadow Steps and Cold Blood. You didn't choose to run those when you have so many high cost minions, I think. So
Yeah, you're right.
Almost sure that there will be bigger threats in that kind of rogue. So he has to pick actually a deck that will be great against, just control,
Shaman.
typical control decks. I think Shaman might be really okay.
all right. That could be kind of a decent pick here because he does have hexes for the big minion. He picks Handlock or Warlock rather. I don't know which type. But definitely, yeah, it's Handlock. There's a Mountain Giant there and a Suntree Protector. It seems to indicate the Handlock is definitely going to be the thing. So no Paladin, no Warrior for Kolento going down, losing the first game, which is really impactful in any series. Best of 5 less so than best of 3, but losing the first game is always a big deal. All right, you're back. I have visuals on you, Lothar.
Yeah, sorry,
Awesome.
I don't know what's going on.
That's fine. A little bit of a latency problem. All right, so we're looking at Handlock against the interesting Merkel Rogue from Dog. I'm actually curious to see what else is there. Now, Dr. Boom was seen in Kolento's starting hand, and he actually, it kind of makes sense. This card has been pretty much everywhere, as far as I'm aware. I've seen the card in just about every single deck nowadays. Dr. Boom is just super high value.
That's true. And almost no one predicted that Dr. Boom will be such a great addition to almost every single deck. Like only Striveco was talking about it. It's just insane.
I loved it, but I couldn't see if it made that much sense for every single deck. But now, like even Merkel Rogue is including it in their roster just for high high damage win condition. Like I couldn't have thought that was the case. So honestly, oh wow, double Violet Teacher prep Sap.
Oh,
This board.
might be a headache.
Oh, Kolento. Oh, he can play Sludge Belcher to weather down some of the aggression.
But it's still a really great spot to be in. You have 2 Violet Teachers with no immediate response.
Yeah, this is very powerful here.
The 2 spells that were used for those Violet Teachers acted like one Cold Blood, actually.
At the moment, yeah, you have 4 minions on board, so they're kind of split apart. They're not. It's not like you have like all your eggs in one basket, right? Like it's one damage,
exactly.
1 damage. You can use them individually to get as much value out of them as you can. So Kolento drops the Ancient Watcher and the Mountain Giant, trying to stop some of the onslaught that Dog is putting.
The Ancient Watcher will be used for Shadow Flame if needed next turn.
Yeah, but do you think Dog will predict that? Because he could still play some kind of interesting, Shiv Eviscerate if he wanted to kill a Giant, and maybe even trade into the 4/5. The problem is that doesn't really play around Mortal Coil, so that could be a bit problematic, I'd imagine.
You can't really play around Mortal Coil at this point, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if he had it, he would have played on one of the 1/1s, perhaps. I don't know. I like his position, however. I'll be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
The spells.
You have to use the tokens that you're generating each turn because there are so many of them. You will clog your board just easily with any kind of spell you have there.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't see his weapon actually on this screen.
Yeah, no, he had one. Yeah, I didn't see the weapon in his hand. I didn't see him equip it at all. I don't know why. It must have been like a little bit display problem in spectator mode. But the Ancient Watcher is gonna wipe the board here. This is.
Well, almost wipe it.
Yeah, there's gonna be like 2 little 1/1s. No Mortal Coil for Kolento. I don't know if he runs them. Do you think that does every handlock? Like I've seen pretty much every handlock still run them, but I wouldn't doubt that some versions have swapped 1 out. Like it's not uncommon.
Well, Mortal Coils were always the spot that you can actually change in the Warlock deck for
Yeah.
something more powerful. But, well, the meta changed back to 2 Mortal Coils some time ago, and now when your metagame is really unpredictable, I think more players are inclined to use some more impactful cards instead. So we
Yeah,
might see actually no Mortal Coils or just 1 Mortal Coil.
it's one of those cards that's been varying a lot as far as its presence in the handlock deck. It's basically like, sometimes 2 Siphon Souls used to be the case a while back, and it was standard for a while, and then some people tuned those out. They modified it for like a Black Knight. Some really awkward cards that have a similar function, but not necessarily the exact same.
Yeah, that's true. No, the problem with the rogue spells here is you can use the Shift and Eviscerate to kill the Ancient Watcher to prevent any shenanigans next turn with maybe a second Shadow Flame, but the problem is when you use a Eviscerate for just killing a minion, you are robbing yourself from any kind of finisher that
Yeah,
is...
your reach is much lower, you're right.
Yeah, your reach is really low.
Yeah, because you can't use it on the face, because one of the strengths of those spells is that it bypasses taunts, obviously, so the idea is to use them on the enemy's face when he least expects it, but he does have Dr. Boom and Ragnaros in hand, which could be very, very impactful in this moment. Like, they could act as pseudo-eviscerates. But as you can tell here, he's hesitating. Does he eviscerate this, or does he dagger up and trade with one of the Violet Teachers, perhaps?
Well, I wouldn't eviscerate for sure. I would just... If
Go
I
face?
didn't see the hand of the Warlock, I would just leave the Ancient Watcher there, just go face.
Okay,
Well, maybe
so
not
he
the
shivs the
everything.
Ancient Watcher.
Yeah.
Alright.
Maybe he should actually shift face, but he wanted to draw
Yeah.
first.
Understandably. I mean, I can see why he did that.
Well, if he
but he's got
actually
good
would
follow-ups.
shift... Yeah, if he actually would shift face, then he would have an board to kill the Ancient Watcher, because he would play the Felnose and backstep for 3 and 2 minions to... Oh no, wait,
Yeah.
no, generated this turn. No.
There would have been no...
They were
think it
generated
was-
this turn with the shift, so never
Yeah.
mind.
Oh, wow. Alright. So he might have to
Shadow
eviscerate
Flame.
it after all.
Yeah.
Oh, double eviscerate. I think Dr. Boom gets played here and puts some heavy pressure. He did keep the eviscerates for the face. You know, he knows better. We spoke about it, and it did make a lot of sense for him too. So he's got 8 damage in hand for the face directly. And with Ragnaros maybe YOLOing it a little bit, that could do it.
Well, you have to
Over the
take
next-
into factor that turn 9 is coming to actually really soon.
Yeah,
And,
Jiraxis.
yeah, there might be a Jiraxis, so you won't be using those Eviscerate until you have a sure kill.
Yeah, it's very dangerous. And I mean, Kolento can afford to wait a little bit. He does have 2 Earthling Farseers, which is actually a card that I've seen a lot of handlock players run, like 1 anti-heal bot instead of 2 Earthling Rings. I've seen a bit of that, 2 anti-heal bots as well. Those are cards that have been not completely phased out, but have seen a reduction in the amount of play they have.
Look at what's funny now. The bombs can actually be bad for you. If you
Yeah.
hit face twice for 4, if there won't be any Molten Giants in Warlock's hand, this will be really awful.
It's a huge drop in potential value for sure. Like, it really depends. I hope they hit the minion for Dog, because quite frankly, otherwise, it's going to be a bit problematic. He got lucky there. That was a pretty nice hit.
That was really
Oh,
nice.
wow.
Double deadly poison and 2 eviscerate. This is just a huge amount of damage output next turn.
Yeah.
If he would actually draw into Blade Flurry, that means 18
Yeah,
points
it's
of damage
killed from
just
hand?
from hand.
Yeah,
It's just 18 points damage from hand.
that's
wow.
crazy. Oh,
What's
I'm
funny,
actually
Blade-
curious.
What are you curious about?
Because right now, like, you want to play Jiraxis to get some health back, but you know you can't. It's suicidal, so you kind of have to spam the board with as many possible Ragnaros targets as you can.
That's true.
Like, you have to heal up a little bit to get out of range of the YOLO Rag. You have to play down some taunts, so he's gonna have to Sun Fury those guys.
Yeah.
That's going to be a little awkward for him, but no, you have to do what you've got to do.
Fan
Ooh.
of Knives, not that Blade Flurry, but almost.
Are you? Do you eviscerate face once and then? Okay, he could. Oh wow! Actually, he could reach for the near guaranteed
Well,
lethal, I believe.
You
Unless
can
I'm
risk it.
mistaken.
you can risk it because if you sacrifice your bomb first, well, yeah, you play backstep first. You play
Yeah.
backstep on Drake, then sacrifice the bomb on whatever.
Yeah, and then whatever
see
dies.
what is the
is good.
outcome.
Yeah,
Because if you hit face, you can actually get lethal just from eviscerate.
but I
like
think
for
he's
free.
got it without that even, but I'm not too sure.
Upside
Yeah,
down, it's
I think-
making things crazy.
Yeah, seeing the cards upside down is really confusing as a caster.
Oh crap! Now he has.
That doesn't matter really right now, but he
Oh,
can
yeah.
definitely wipe this board pretty much entirely and get a guaranteed lethal systematically here, right?
Yeah,
Like it's a 50-50, so
yeah.
he's guaranteed to win now. He's got it. There it is.
Wow.
All right.
Upside down thing is really messy. Actually think about defense here.
Yeah, seeing lethals without seeing the actual cards very easily. I'm too used to playing with the cards upside up. Upside up? Does that even make sense? Upside, whatever. So that's another game for Dog. That Miracle Rogue pulling its weight. A deck I haven't seen much after GVG is apparently still strong.
Yeah, that's very weird, and also very good play with not eviscerating the Ancient Water here. It was maybe some players that saw both hands from the players will think that it's a misplay, but when you don't see the lurking Shadow Flame from the Warlock, you can't really play that eviscerate. So very good decision, and
Yeah.
it won him the game eventually.
Yeah, most definitely. It's one of those things where you know when you were running the old Miracle Rogue kind of style with Arcane Golems and Cold Bloods and whatnot.
Yeah, sure.
You really had to keep that. You had to burst as fast as possible so that your eviscerates could go face afterwards. Because if they eventually taunted up, that wall of taunts was you couldn't go through it. Unless you were playing some really, you got lucky with your saps and whatnot. So it was really tricky, but with Ragnaros and Dr. Boom, that gives the Miracle Rogue a lot more reach to the face through decks that run taunts and whatnot. And so far, that deck has been working wonders.
Yeah, well, Dr. Boom is actually really a good addition here because it acts like an additional, well, just eviscerates or maybe backstabs, whatever. It's just insanely good in this situation when you have such a wide array of spells that can finish off any kind of creatures or just go face. It's just really valuable addition to the Miracle Rogue deck.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird. It's a deck I didn't expect Dr. Boom to go in, as I mentioned, but the amount of damage you get for free out of Dr. Boom, and the fact that he forces hard removal, being what he is, 7/7 forces. You can't let 7 damage sit on the board. It's way too dangerous. And if you do hard remove him, then there are bigger threats in the game that you also want to hard remove. So how much hard removal do you pack in your deck if you expect a metagame filled with stuff like this? Is Control Warrior the only deck that can actually kind of tone down the aggression from those cards?
Yep. Well, the problem is Kolento did use the Siphon Soul right before Ragnarok.
Yeah, just before Rag came, because he hadn't seen Rag in the previous game, right?
Yeah.
He'd seen the Dr. Boom.
And you can't really play around it.
Exactly. You don't know that he's gonna run it. All right, so looks like Kolento's going for Shaman this time around. Maybe the 2 hexes will carry him a little bit further. That'd be nice. All right, Dog's hand looking pretty good.
Really good starting hand.
Yeah.
The agent itself is just wow, my hand is great against the Shaman, right?
Yeah, you're just happy to get something you can kill a totem with. All right, Neptulon with Power Mace in Kolento's hand.
That's all.
It's not the best start, but at least totems can carry you forward a little bit. And that Haunted Keeper top deck, that'll help a little bit for the early game. Quite nice for him here. So the Power Mace, do you think it's run because of mechs or just because it's a 3/2? It's kind of a pseudo Fiery War Axe.
I think it might be a pseudo Fiery War Axe too.
Yeah, okay. That I could see that being the case, definitely. I don't see. The thing is, he doesn't know, but there's a sabotage in that rogue deck. So if they're sabotage,
forget about it. What?
Yeah, there it is. There's the sabotage. It came in just now. So when that weapon does come out, he might be inclined to wait for Doomhammer though. You have to wait for Doomhammer to sabotage, or is the metagame so hectic post GVG that you just use it on whatever you see first?
I think you can't be greedy unless you're sure that there's a Doomhammer in your opponent's hand. The problem when you're playing against Shaman, that he has a really strong tempo build. So if you don't remove any kind of answers as soon as possible, you might be dead.
Yeah, that's true. And we've seen Alex Straza in Dog's deck. Apparently, this reminds
Wow.
me of Tares. You remember Tares Miracle Rogue
Mhm.
a while back who was
Yeah,
running,
yeah.
the Alex Straza and I forget a Sprint, I believe. So it seems like Doctor Boom made its way instead of Sprint, and Rag got added, and they cut some of the more bursty auto attack the face like Leroy / Arcane
Mhm,
Golems.
mhm.
So this is looking a bit similar to that, and I like that style of
It
Miracle
really
Rogue.
reminds me of the early beta when we were playing with anything, and
Anything,
of
yeah.
my yeah, and my like favorite deck apart from Control Hunter was Rogue with Ragnaros and Shadow Steps, just for being used as a toolbox for Beacon
Yeah.
Hunters, Black Knights, and all those Battlecry minions. So
Yeah. Temple Rogue was really fun, actually. Temple Rogue was one of the most fun decks in the history of Hearthstone, and it seems like more and more as time passes, Miracle Rogue is becoming more and more tempo based, right? It's got a lot more minions in it than it used initially. Initially, the deck was basically pure spells.
Mhm.
All spells and just one Gadgetzan, two Gadgetzans, and you just carried on the back of it when you found it. And as
That's
time's
true.
passed, it's been Violet Teachers included, a lot of other stuff that was really not in the core design of the deck. It's been kind of
That's
nice,
very
honestly.
true. Oh, the problem with the Rogue is that he didn't draw any kind of board clears yet, and those will be the MVPs against Shaman.
Yeah, but he's got a Gadgetzan coin and double prep and a prep in hand, so there could be like if he goes Gadgetzan auction your coin prep sabotage, that's a lot of card draw. He could get a Blade Flurry, which would be very good for him right now. I think
If
Kolento has to kill the.
yeah, you just play the File Mental, I think.
I would, but I don't know if he'd rather keep it and not lose it to a board wipe. There's a possibility that he expects Dog to wipe the board very quickly, and he's gonna get an extra card draw from the Manatite Totem.
But now you're even more vulnerable
Yeah,
to say board clear. Well, it doesn't really matter because
at
Shaman
this
is
point.
so far ahead.
At the moment, yes, definitely. And Dog's got to be curious. Does this guy run Bloodlust? Because there is a possibility that Bloodlust is run as one of in Kalento's deck. We don't know that yet. I mean, the decks haven't been.
Mhm.
There's no established metagame just yet, and Power Mace might indicate, a mech or tempo deck that didn't draw super well. Let's say, so maybe
Let,
Bloodlust is in that range.
let's talk about the rogue options here. I think
Hmm.
if you play two Blade Flurries, you have to risk and play Gazette and prep. I mean, Gazette and coin, you have one draw, then
Oh,
prep, you have a second one, and maybe draw into the Blade Flurry because there's so many minions out there, and you have
yeah.
like 6 points of damage here.
He decides not to do that, but there's no Fan of Knives in his hand either. So
So what would
what,
you play, even the Drake?
dude? I don't know. It feels like he doesn't feel threatened yet. He doesn't feel like he's about to die, so he's gonna have to try to eviscerate that Flame Tongue Totem so he doesn't take too much damage. That
Mhm.
mitigates a lot of damage from the board, in the immediate sense, but
But
it still
it's
doesn't help him
still
recover.
yeah, it's still 5 damage from the board, and
Mhm.
you know that easily with 7 mana, even the worst combination is like flame, lightning bolt or rock biter, and an
Yeah,
example, fire metal. So that's 11 points of damage. We'll be at 3, and
yeah.
Alex
And
Straza is
anti-killbot will not save you.
cool.
Like you're 3 turns
Yeah.
away from Alex
Oh.
Straza. So he
Oh.
might be feeling a bit safe here because he doesn't expect the burst. But then again, as you said, Shaman has a lot of reach potential. It's one of those things with that deck. They can lava burst your face out of nowhere, and suddenly you're down to nearly no health at all. But Kolento decides to trade again, plays a Fire Elemental. He's gonna
He
get
can
some
br-
nice card draw here.
Yeah. If Shannon actually draws more than 2 cards from the water elemental,
Yeah, it's pure value.
it's already over. I think it's like most of the situations like, oh, I just lost. Shannon
And
has so much
Sabotage
value
does not
from the
target.
cards. Yep.
So it's gonna be random here. So do you have to try to sabotage or hope for Blade Flurry top decks or?
Now you have to play the Gazetten, but you lost your coin and you have 1 mana remaining. And I'm
Oh, the
almost
sap.
sure.
The sap.
I'm almost sure that Dog is not running any kind of 1 mana spells.
Yeah. Now let's see if the RNG favors him.
Oh wow! Oh no!
Oh, he kills a Stone Claw. This is devastating. This is the worst possible outcome.
Is it end of the game? No.
Not yet, not yet, but
Not
it could
yet.
be.
Like any kind
Yeah.
of spell that deals 2 damage or maybe 1. So Crackle.
Defender of Argus will give +2, so there's 7, 8 there, plus Rock Biter. That's a total of, 11 damage. He's 1 off lethal
Plus
again.
why? Well, you can try to draw into Crackle. Like if you play
Yeah,
Azure Drake,
with the Drake.
you have still 1 mana for the Rock Biter, and if you draw the Crackle, you win. So
Yeah, immediately. So that would be.
And you are 26 points of life. If you don't draw the Crackle, you can just kill off the Gazettan.
Yeah, and you don't expect any burst from that deck because as we've already seen, Dog's deck is very, heavy minions. That's pretty much what he's running most of the time. So you don't expect, Leroy, Shadow Step, or Arcane Golem, Cold Blood, Shadow Step, Cold Blood. Like you don't expect any of that stuff. It's going to be straight up trying to out tempo you. And right now as a shaman, you have the tempo, so you're not too worried. I don't think.
That's very true. That's how the shaman works.
Yep. Now Dog in a really tricky position. Anti-kill bot could help, but how much really? Another prep, but Gaddison has been silenced.
That's awful, man. That's really awful, and I think the Gazettan should be played early on, but now you
Instead
just
of the Drake.
lost so much tempo is being lost. Even the Sap is a great play right now, even for a
Fire
golem.
elemental?
For the golem even, it's like.
Yeah, you have to at least remove some stuff on the board. Like, removing 2 minions is fine. Do you... No, you can't. I mean, you'd have to get lucky with your prep Shiv to get anything done, right?
Nah,
Like, if you prep
I think
Shiv, you'd
you're
have
just
to...
dead. There's no way you can pull off this game.
I mean, he's got, like, Strata for healing purposes, right? Oh, the
Oh, look, there's the
Crackle.
Crackle.
Oh, that's going to hurt. 6, 7, 8. So this guy's on
Sure,
4
Rock
health,
Biter,
5 health.
There's a second weapon.
Oh, it's over. It's over. Power Mace. Never
Yeah.
mind. What am I
Power
talking
Mace
about?
and the Rock Biter, that
I'm-
Crackle
yeah.
didn't even matter.
Why am I calculating damage? What am I doing here? Yeah, never mind. This game is over. So that was a really nice nice play here from Kolento. He's using Power Maces. He's got Harvest Golem, so they can have some value. And he takes the 3rd game after all, losing his 2 first decks, Paladin and Warlock, to this Rogue. Figured it out. Realized, let's go Shaman, tempo this guy out. My Shaman can out-tempo your Rogue, so... Yep, Dog's deck goes down.
So now Dog will use Mage, for sure.
Yeah,
why would you
most
use
definitely.
Druid against a Shaman? That's almost always a really awful matchup.
But what is his mage, right? That's the question. Like,
Well, if
mech
it's a
mage...
I'm not sure. Well, he banned the Warrior, right? So I was talking
Yeah.
before about the Freeze Mage, but
You're right.
Freeze Mage against Shaman?
Yeah, that's decent. Depending on how much freeze you've got, but I'm pretty sure that's
It
just
also
it's-
depends on the build of the Shaman. If
Yeah.
he has like a Doomhammer and Rock Biters you, then you just lose without.
Yeah,
even-
but that's one of those risks, right? I mean, Kolento's not running Burst Shaman, as we've seen, right? I haven't
Mhm.
seen any
Yeah.
Lava Burst. I've seen 1 Crackle. I don't know about
Well,
2. So,
Crackle Crackle can win games by itself. You just
Yeah.
drop 6 points of damage for 2 mana for practically free. But
yeah,
if you use it as a finisher, then it counts for 2, so you can squeeze it so much easier in the mana cure for the Shaman. That's a problem with 3-point with spells for 3 points of mana. Like an example, Spectral Wolves, right? They don't fit any single turn, well, every turn. So Crackle is at the middle of that road, and it fits almost every single turn. That's so insane.
it's like a hero power, right? Sometimes you want to use your
Yeah.
hero power as a curve filler, and basically that's what the Crackle does. It costs the exact same amount of mana. So
Exactly.
Dog decides
Wow.
to pick Druid, actually. So that's interesting.
Okay, that's very interesting. Maybe he just wants to maybe win with his Wars deck in this matchup, just not to show the Mage first.
Yeah, if he can't avoid showing the mage, then maybe that's what he wants. So if he can win with this one, I mean, he can afford throwing the deck away, right? It doesn't really matter to him. Maybe it's very standard. Oh, Mech Druid, you've got to be kidding.
Wow, that's interesting.
That definitely interesting. I like that. But Kolento's got a decent starting hand here on curve with Hunt Creepers and
Wild
Harvest
Growth
Golems.
also. This is very interesting because we talked it in Kingwin Invitational. I mean, the Kingwin for Charity tournament. That was the first GBG tournament. Mech Warper fills the same role as the Wild Growth in
Druid.
this type of decks. And when you have 4 Wild Growths in a deck, well, that's kind of OP, right?
Yeah, well, that's been my most successful druid deck is actually a mech tempo deck that's kind of trying to be a fast druid. That's one of the decks I've been having fun with. I can't tell you it's like the best deck that I've ever played, but it's definitely been a lot of fun, honestly. And so far, Mech Warper is like another wild growth. So I have 2 wild growths, 2 Mech Warpers, 2 Innervates, and that seems to be definitely what Dog is attempting with this deck, definitely. But Shaman's got a sickening amount of board presence right now.
Do you play the Dr. Boom?
Oh, that would have been fun. That would have been fun. But,
Wait, what happened? Ancient of Lore was played, right?
no, it actually was the Azure Drake. It's on the right side of the screen.
Oh,
Somehow it's
wow.
bugged. Yeah, it's
Okay.
gone. We don't
I
see
was
it
like,
properly.
what is happening here?
Yeah, the Azure Drake is on the very far right. So we're looking at that, and it's... Shaman is
hilarious.
tempoing pretty hard right now. Got a lot of... Oh, wow, the Harvest Golem gets buffed up by the Power Mace dying, which buffs a random mech with +2/+2. Definitely
Yeah.
a good one here.
A Yeti
for
with a
Kolento
death
at
rattle.
least.
Wow.
That is sick. And now, do you innervate out, the Shredder and the Spider Tank?
Yeah, that feels good. Feels
Dr.
really,
Boom?
awful, to be honest. You have to play
Yeah.
Dr. Boom. I think Dr. Boom last turn was so good.
Last turn might have been a bit better, right? Yeah.
Yeah. You just lost 1 point of mana because of that innovate this turn.
Yeah,
And
any play he had was overpaying, basically.
yeah, and well, he had the Shredder the turn before that, so he might actually
Mm-hmm.
been planning forward, like turn 5 any 7 drop, then turn 6 4 drop and
4
hero
drop
power
and 3 drop,
choice
yeah.
for the hunted creature. So that might be slightly better, especially when you're playing against a tempo deck like Shaman, when you need those value cards like the bombs from Dr. Broom as soon as possible to just trade for all the minions.
Yeah, before they overwhelm you. Because, Druids have swipe, but besides swipe, what really do they have when it comes to clearing boards, right?
Nothing.
Kolento has a nice Lightning Storm, right? It's, does he just Lightning Storm this board ever? Or does he wait since he's in Mech Warper?
Yeah, the bomb is really unlucky here.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that's like...
Unfortunately. And again...
Oh, wow!
Okay,
Wow,
well, he's
it's
in range.
super bad.
He's getting close to the Force of Nature Savage Row range, right? It
Yeah,
can't
but
be. It's so
just
awkward,
lost-
though.
just
Oh,
lost
God.
The whole turn just to play our 7/7 minion and nothing really
Yeah.
happened. And
Starfall
as you
was
said,
nice.
yeah, as you said, Druid has only swiped for his AoE control, and when you just actually when your opponent has only minions with 2 HP, you're all in awful position. You have to draw into Telnos or play Starfall, as you mentioned.
Wild Pyromancer. I've seen Wild Pyromancer a long time ago in Druid when you were expecting a lot of aggro, right? But that's mostly, it's not something you tag very often. Like, it was the alternative to Blood Mage Thalnos. But Double Swipe is very strong. Like, Double Swipe is a play that you're happy to run when you do get it. In a situation like this, I think it would be pretty much godly, honestly. But
Yes.
Swipe Hero Power Wrath here actually does a pretty good job of wiping the board.
Well, there's still be 1 minion left, right?
Yeah, there will be one thing, but yeah, I mean, if you leave the Zombie Chow alive, you can always finish it
Oh,
off
no,
later.
wait, yeah, and he has this hero power still.
Mhm.
Like, first you Wrath 1, right? The Elemental.
Yep, exactly. Right on. So that's a pretty decent board wipe, quite frankly. Like I wouldn't feel too bad about it if I were Dog. He's gotten in a position now where he actually has a decent board, but Kolento's next turn is likely to be Neptulon, which is going to give him an entire hand of Murlocs, and those are random, so you never know what you're going to get. I don't know if he's going to play it right away.
Yeah,
Alright.
this is the first time I see a Neptune in a tournament. So.
Oh, it's a great card for Shaman. Alright, what did he get? 2 Grimscale Oracles, I see an old Murkai, and something else on the
wow.
far
So
right.
this is
Oh,
Stiflin. Oh god!
card draw.
Oh man, that's really.
This is
Wait.
crazy.
We don't play any Murlocs, I think, apart from the Stiflin next turn. So.
And then you drop 2 of them with Murkai, and you're just happy to do it. But then again, you're in reach of, Force of Nature Savage Roar. That has to be a little dangerous here.
You can kill those minions easily.
Yeah,
you
you
just
can
play-
kill them.
You kill the Yeti and then Hex.
X1, yeah, fairly simply. And it gives you a spare part. You can always get something valuable out of it. Maybe
Yeah.
swap back your Neptulon to full health for whatever reason.
Or free
Like, it's gonna be
that would be okay.
Mm-hmm.
What did he get? It's a coolant? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
No,
he
it's
got
Time
Time
Rewinder.
Rewinder.
Oh, wow.
Is he gonna get
That's
more Murlocs?
actually-
Oh, old Murkai, OTK! I'm kidding, of course. That would be nice. So the old Murkai getting incredible value. So
He goes with his safer play here because he's so
Ooh.
unlerdy one swipe, but the Keeper of the Grove might be very relevant here.
yeah, no, it's a very nice play here.
Ooh, second Keeper. Okay, still lacking the combo, and this is the most important thing.
Yeah.
But now, how many
Kolento's
points will the
Murlocs.
Armor Arc will have actually? Well, you play
Plus
the second.
2, plus
Plus 4.
3.
Plus 4.
It'll be a 7-4.
If you play the Stefan 2, yeah. And you
Yeah.
can fit those? Yeah, you can fit those.
Yeah, you can fit everything. You can fit everything you want. That is an incredible Murloc moment. Oh my god, Neptulon. Like, GBG has made some of the most unexpected things happen.
I really love
I
it.
can't believe this.
I always... Well, I'm always an opponent of any RG cards, but when it comes to the new cards for the GBG are really fun and awesome to watch. So
Yeah.
I really like the new expansion here.
Honestly, so far, I think this is definitely RNG done right, as far as I'm concerned. GVG has done that right. Like, they've actually
Yeah.
done really nice.
Yeah.
Like, the random numbers, the RNG in GVG hasn't been, you know, like cards like Ragnaros and Animal Companion. You know, those two cards personally, I'm not a big fan of because I think they're a bit too swingy in a way. But the cards that you get from, you know, Neptulon, sure you could get, you know, 4 old Merc guys, but that's not even good. Like, you have to get really specific combinations to get really the OP RNG, whereas this forces you to play around it. And the Sylphin, admittedly, was arguably one of the better cards that Kolento could have gotten.
For sure, and it has 5 points of health, so
Yeah.
that's the worst kind of minion that can actually be played against a druid. I mean, the best, because druid has a problem with minions with high health, just because druid has no option to like kill a minion regardless of its health points, so he has
Yeah.
to actually deal damage that is being printed on the health of the minion.
So
Unless you're
here-
using, of
here,
course,
dog.
the
Yeah. Here, Dog actually decides to double Keeper of the Grove, the Sylphin. I thought he was going to you know, hero power the 1/1, then reverse the attack and health of the Sylphin and kill it with the Keeper of the Grove thing, but he wants to keep the reversing switch, probably to get a Keeper of the Grove swap up to 4 attack, to maybe
think that's
reach for a
the
little bit
case?
more damage. I think that's what he's trying to do, because double Keeper is probably trying to set up for some kind of damage, because he considered the reversing switch, but you know, Crazed Alchemist works like that, where if you switch the attack and health, it does it permanently. So, even though the
Yeah.
Grimscale Oracle only buffs, you know, an aura effect, it would translate into permanent. Oh, Arcane Nullifier actually in Kolento's Shaman. That's
maybe
nice with
he's-
Power Maze.
Do you think he dropped the wolves? in his
No,
deck?
okay, a long time ago, in the times where Alpha and Beta were a thing for Hearthstone, the Wolves were cut out of every mid-range Shaman deck because they overloaded you and denied your ability to tempo very effectively. So that is definitely a possibility. It's like Unbound Elemental and Harvest Golem, people preferring one over the other. It's kind of going in and out of fashion. But I've always preferred Harvest Golem, and it seems to be the case that, you know, a lot of people also run their shamans with Harvest. So it is a call that I'm willing to make, cutting wolves in this deck. I think
Yeah,
that's
this might-
fine.
This might be very good decision in this type of shaman.
Mhm.
When you have also Neptune, which also causes overload, you don't have to be. You can cut cards that can overload too much. Because
Exactly.
every single draw will mean that you will be off curve and you will suffer from tempo, like
Yeah,
loss.
tempo loss. Yeah, that's the big
Yeah.
problem with, you know, Overload. It's a mechanic that's designed that way, where Shaman has really nice board presence, mind you, but the Overload is kind of the drawback you have to pay for, so you surrender future tempo for immediate one, and sometimes when that backfires, then you're falling behind way too quickly. So cutting the Feral Spirits can definitely be a good thing, especially with Spider Tanks in the metagame now. Now, there's a lot of 3-drops that kill it for free, and now you lose tempo for that, so it can be kind of problematic.
very true.
Alright, Kolento wiping the board. Or trying to, at least. The
a
miss.
low roll on the Tinkertown Technician.
If Force of Nature is top decked, is that it? I believe it is.
Yeah,
If Savage
That's
Warsaw is
lethal,
top
but
decked.
no. We did draw
Not
the
yet.
White Dwarfs, so that's not the combo. So there's
No, we
no
don't.
way of getting lethal this turn.
Mm-hmm. But the stealth on the Drake could be really, really instrumental. That
He did
could be
use
really
one
nice.
swipe, one grab, right?
Yeah, there's one of each left in the deck right now. So Swipe would make short work of the current board of the Shaman. Quite frankly, it would be very easy for Dog to wipe it. But a Lightning Storm with a Drake here could definitely change the tides if he rolls high on that Drake.
That will be super important.
Yeah, it would be a really
maybe game winning it.
Yeah, I'd go as far as saying it's game winning because he is on 15. Just oh, and the Drake dies.
Oh, wow. Right,
He's just out
Brave
of
is
range.
at 21. You're right. That's not the game winning at all.
Oh, he has to go face and hope for the Savage War top deck now. Is that it? Or is he gonna still try to trade? He could kill the Drake and go
not
face
sure.
for one.
I think you got. Well, you didn't see any heal cards from Shaman, so you can actually go face, I think.
Yeah, we don't expect any of those. All right.
4/7. Wow, so that's a permanent.
It's at least a board wipe. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
going to be... Swipe top deck is actually lethal now for Dog, so his Swipe and his Savage Roar are both going to help him win the game, because now his board is gone, so he's relying on whatever he can top deck, and there are no taunts for this turn at least. So he's got maybe one turn, because like Kolento, worst case scenario, could always hex his own minions to get a pseudo taunt for one turn, if he ever needs to get two of those at any point.
So
It's really
at this point of the game, I'm sure there are no spectral. Oh wow!
Oh, the Savage Roar. And no Spectral Knights, I don't think. Wow.
I wanted to tell about spectral wolves for
Wolves, yeah.
Shaman here because we didn't see them at all for 2 games, and we did see Defender of Argus and Nullifier. So
Yeah, so there's probably a cut there that was made.
mm-hmm.
And if you think about it, Arcane Nullifier is pretty much a Spirit Wolf because it's giving you kind of almost 2/6 worth of stats, and they're untargetable. They do cost
also
you one
gain
more
one.
mana.
But actually, you gain 1 mana. At some
in some way, in some general
Some
sense,
way
because
you
you're not
gain-
overloaded,
yeah.
it costs you less. But it's not as tempo swingy as Feral Spirit can be sometimes, and it doesn't really synergize as much
it's
with
less-
Flame Tongue, but it lives.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
lives.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to tell. Yeah, so really, really nicely done by Dog here. He won 3-1 against Kolento, which
Yeah,
is an
nice.
achievement.
In and of itself.
yeah.
Like, even if she doesn't go any further, it's like, whatever, man. I beat Kolento. I'm good to go, dude. It's fine now. I can just go home and die. So, yeah, sure. So, that was a really nice game, honestly. The streak of games was really cool. The Shaman from Kolento, I like the Power Maces in there with the Arcane Nullifier. I really like that tweak on the typical tempo Shaman. No Feral Spirits as well was kind of interesting. And the Miracle Rogue from Dog. You gotta love that.
This is why I love to watch every single tournament now from GDG, because there's so much variety, and each single deck, it's really insane.
Yep. So we'll be back in a few after a short break, guys. So just
Don't go anywhere.
don't go anywhere. Just stay around. We're gonna be back. In the meantime, have fun. Good looking fighter.